Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Well, did you hear the terrible news in Canada that they called those 330 ostriches? What a sad day for Canada. This is something they do in China. They take over your farm and just kill all your animals. They didn't test them to see why only some of them got the bird flu and others didn't. Apparently, there's some genetic immunity that they had, and there's some kind of conspiracy that the pharmaceutical company pressured the Canadian government because these birds actually had the answer to many viruses in their genetic makeup. And actually, they were the eggs, somehow they were taking protein out of the egg yolk and studying it and found that they anyways, apparently they teamed up with a company in Japan, a pharmaceutical company in Japan, and they were really close to coming up with something that would counteract the who flung flu. That's the conspiracy. I want to find out though. So it was a nonpartisan government entity that did it. So it's not like it was our Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So they oversee all the food imports coming into Canada. They oversee all the live animals coming into Canada. They do oversee like mad cow disease and the bird flu. So if the bird flu hit a chicken farm, for example, yeah, those chickens would have to be culled. A very unique situation with this ostrich. I'm not going to get into it. What I want to find out is, will there be any fallout? People are now saying this is overreach from the government. They didn't follow procedures. If, for example, testing the animals, they didn't use the proper test to test the ostriches. I want to find out, will there be a fallout? The RCMP acted dishonorably. The people who came in they did not humanely cull these ostriches. They did not humanely dispose of the ostriches. It's a big mess. I want to find out what's next for Canada in this government overreach. It was very China-esque. If you watched it closely, what was happening. Kicked the people off their farm, took control of the farm, took control of the animals for a month, didn't feed them properly. There was a lot of reports that animals were just dying because they weren't being looked after. Will anybody be called to task? So I'm going to be looking for the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Those are our legal. I'll also be looking for the Tower. That means heads will roll. And I'll look for the Devil, and that means no, things will stay as they are. Will there be any fallout from this ostrich cull in Canada? Wow, 5 of Cups in reverse. That's really interesting because this means looking forward to the future. This means crossing the bridge, but doesn't mean crossing the Rainbow Bridge. 5 of Wands in reverse. No, this is actually going to go on for quite a while. So if this is the future, this is the argument. Look at this. Both 5s. Look at the birds. The Hierophant in reverse. There's the government, right? The Emperor would be the Prime Minister. The Hierophant are the gurus, so the so-called experts who run like Health Canada and Revenue Canada and Canadian Food Inspection Agency and all that. This is telling me they were not honorable. They're in reverse here. They were not honorable in what they did. And they weren't. They absolutely weren't. It's like they had to prove themselves right. Look at that. The clock agrees with me. Wow. 5 of Swords in reverse. Look at all the 5s. This is really, there's nothing settling about this. This is very, very, very unsettled. This is going to have a lot of blowback. A lot of blowback. There's going to be a lot of struggle, a lot of arguing about that. This is going to go on for a very long time. 3 5s like that. 5s are very unstable because they're 3 and 2. And they're very argumentative. They're very changing. Things change quite quickly when it comes to 5s. And we got the 2 arguing 5s in reverse. This is going to be, there might even be physical violence over this. I'm not kidding you. Justice. Oh, like to see that. There might be some justice coming for these birds. There might be some justice coming for the person who acted inhonorably. The King of Pentacles in reverse. Somebody acted, that's corruption. That is, perhaps that is the pharmaceutical company, because when I do health readings, pentacles are medication because they're pills, right? This actually, on top of the 5 of Wands in reverse, there could be some legs to that conspiracy with that corruption. You know who else is a King of Pentacles in reverse? Is Justin Trudeau. And we all know how corrupt he is. This is somebody who rules with money. Money is power. Destroys with money. There might be some legs to that conspiracy about pharmaceutical companies did not like this. The pharmaceutical companies then paid Canadian Food Inspection Agency, Gestapo, to go after. Maybe they sniffed around and found out there is something here that would cost them billions of dollars. There's something here. Get those tinfoil hats on. Wow, the death. Death. The only way to cure this is to kill those animals. Death, end. I actually think somebody's going to lose their job over this. Holy crap. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Look at the 2 pentacles facing the death here. Also, again, pentacles. This is, well, a Knight of Pentacles is actually a farmer, right? Looks after the land, looks after the things. So this could actually be the actual farmers, right? Because they were considered agricultural. They were considered, farmers. There might be something here. Look at them veering off at each other. But I don't think the farmers are going to get very far. They're going to argue a lot. They're going to come out with a lot of things, a lot of words, a lot of contracts, a lot of research and whatnot. And it's going to be for naught because they're in reverse. They have no power. The 6 of Wands, yeah, the pharmaceutical companies won this one. Somebody paid big money to shut that farm down. No more chances. There they go. Judgment in reverse. No more chances. I'll be shocked if they're ever allowed to have any kind of ostriches ever again. Because that's what originally they were offered. I think it was $1 million for in compensation. And they said, no, some of these ostriches are 30 years old, have been with us right from the beginning. And no, there's no need to cull them. And we've got to get this genetic material first. And we've got a contract with a Japanese pharmaceutical company, blah, 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 blah. And the big arm of this agency came down. I think that they may be banned from ever owning ostriches. They get no more chances. These farmers get no more chances. Well, number one, they say this is going to bankrupt them. So where are they going to? They're going to probably have to sell the land. Who wants to buy the land with that much terror on it? Um, Somebody will. Uh, or they'll just like, I've got PTSD from this. I can't even farm even if I wanted to. I think, and do they want to put themselves in that position ever again? I wouldn't. Yeah, no, this is Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is going to stop, I think, a lot of people from ever wanting to do any kind of ostrich farming ever again. Um, I think there will be fallout. I think heads are going to roll. I think there will be some kind of justice. Um, Wow, the moon in reverse. Some truth. I think there might even be some kind of inquiry or something interesting. We don't have a politician or a lawyer show up. I think we've got the people here presenting all their information, but nobody's listening. It's too late. Even if it was true, all that genetic material is now gone. Um, so not only did they've lost that contract with the pharmaceutical company in Japan, or was it science company? I'm really upset about it. So it takes a lot for me to even read a little bit about it. Um, I wanted to be very fair in the reading. Truth will come out. Oh my lord! Another five. We got all four fives on here. Five of Pentacles. The truth will come out. Somebody will somebody will lose their job over this. I don't know if it's the RCMP detachment, somebody there. I don't know if it's somebody at the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Um, I'm getting that. I want to say two people. Two people will be hung out to dry. And I don't even have the hangman here. Ace of, I was going to say Ace of Knives. Look at that, right into that crow. Ace of Swords in reverse. There's lots of lies around this whole situation. Nine of Pentacles. I think the lady, one of the the mother and the daughter actually ran the farm, and then there was a second person who was an investor in it or whatever. I think she will be compensated quite well, and not that that saves. I mean, not that that how do you cure PTSD from what you went through? How do you know, she called a lot of those ostriches by name, like they were her pets. Um, I think she'll be compensated and I think she'll retire. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, the Emperor. So there we have the Prime Minister. Um, the Prime Minister is either going to shut this down or call an inquiry on it. And the inquiry, somebody will lose. I think we're going to see two people be fired because of the inquiry. Now, I do not like our prime minister, but when he shows up upright like this, he's a fair leader. Um, Stern but fair. Um, I think he may call an inquiry on this. And we also have justice here. So somebody's going to lose. There may be an inquiry that she gets her compensation, the mother and the daughter, the mother, and then retires. It shows that that farm will never, ever rise again. Doing what it's doing. Perhaps they get ostriches to sell for the eggs or the leather or the oil. Ostrich oil was a big thing for a while. Remember that? Um, so maybe perhaps they get ostriches and they do something like that with them. But I highly doubt it'll be these people. I think they might be have a lot of PTSD from all of this. If you ever watched anything of them, I mean, you have to be a monster not to look at them and cry and cry along with them. So yeah, I think there will be an inquiry. I think they will be compensated, but they'll be bankrupted, but they'll be compensated, so they'll be bankrupt because now they have nothing to sell, right? Everything that they took that they had, they now have lost. So they'll claim bankruptcy, they'll have to sell the land to pay the mortgage or to pay the bank on the land, but they will be compensated for the ostriches, but it won't be as much as if the ostriches are alive. Do you know what I mean? So it would be like, have you ever had a really good car, a really good secondhand car that, let's say you got it for a steal for $3,000 from your brother-in-law, but it was worth 10, and you get into somebody hits you in a really bad accident, and because you only paid $3,000 for it, that's all the insurance company gives you. But that $3,000 doesn't replace the value, the $10,000 value of the car. Right now, where are you going to get a $10,000 car for $3,000? That's the kind of thing I'm feeling here. So let's say they made $5,000 a year off of each ostrich, and the government only gives them 3,000. But in the meantime, they've bankrupted because they've had to foreclose on their property, on their mortgage, because they had no income. You know what I mean? Like, it's she'll have enough to retire, but and she'll be compensated, but it won't be the total value of everything she's lost. Yeah, don't be surprised if you hear an inquiry about what went on. And we're going to see two heads roll. Two heads roll. All right. God bless those people. I can smell the death from here, and I'm 1,000 miles away. The terror, the energy. Can you imagine the energy? Uh, um, that ripples. And you can feel it when you go on to X, how angry people are. You can feel that terror. You can feel that anger. Thank you very much for watching. Please take good care. See you online. Fare thee well.